On Used Bike Heaven this week, we'll meet Stuart Smith. He rides motocross, but is on the search for a road bike. We'll have another featured used bike, some more legal advice, and another riding tip. This is Stuart Smith. He's a surveyor from Bristol. He's really not sure what type of road bike to buy. At present, he rides motocross and earlier this year completed the gruelling Western Beach Race. Today, we'll allow him to sample 3 very different machines.
Hello and welcome to the show, and I have Stuart with me. Now Stuart, you currently have a
Honda CR125 motocross bike.
Right, and you're looking for?
I'm not really sure. I've got a bit of a varied background on bikes. I currently have a motocross bike. I've previously had a Honda 400cc road bike, which I took on a couple of track days. But then there's always the comfort option, as I am getting on a bit now.
Getting on a bit, like hell. So you might go for the more tourer that you can spend a bit more time on, do a few miles?
I'd certainly consider it, but obviously it would be down to a test drive.
Okay, well, talk about test drive. Walk this way, because for us, we've decided it's as easy as 1, 2, 3, because we have here the Vertemate, which is a single cylinder. That's £5,500. We have the Honda SP1, mad thing, fast thing. That's 5,900. So that's quite good. And then we have the Triumph Sprint ST. Now that's 6,400, but I know your budget is around 6.
It's around 6, yeah, but I've never really been that sensible with money, so if I did like it, I'm sure I could find the money from somewhere.
A man after my own heart, I love that. Well, we're going to let you loose on these, but before we do, I mean, what do you think of them looks-wise?
Well, first off, with the Triumph, it looks quite trick. I like this single swing arm. It does look very comfortable, and you know, traditional British racing green looks very sporty.
Triumph,
yeah,
absolutely.
So that's very nice. I like the look of it.
And what do you think of this?
Well, wow, it's a real looker. It looks aggressive and gnarly. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting on that.
Brilliant. A lot of people love them, don't they? And of course, the kind of style that you're obviously used to.
Yes. Well, I've never ridden a supermoto bike before on the road. Obviously, I've ridden off-road.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting on that one as well.
Brilliant. Well, before we let you loose, we're going to go to Paul, who's going to give you some hints and tips and facts and figures about all these 3. Okay?
Smashing.
Marvellous.
Our first bike this week, Stuart, is a triple-cylinder machine, Triumph's Sprint ST. This model, with its 955cc fuel-injected motor, first appeared in 1998 and has since gained a healthy reputation as a competent sports tourer. This bike will probably feel huge compared to your own motocross machine, but you should enjoy the comfort and find the power delivery very smooth, all 108 brake horsepower of it. This bike, Stuart, is a 2001 machine and has covered just 5,300 miles. It's in showroom condition and has a data tool alarm system fitted, and it's data tagged as well. You can ride it away today for £6,400. And from 3 cylinders, Stuart, we go to just 2 in the shape of Honda's racy-looking SP1. There's no doubt that this is one of the most distinctive-looking sports bikes on the road today, with its V-shaped air intake up at the front and its upswept twin tailpipes at the rear. It's the kind of machine that looks like it's doing 100 miles an hour, even when it's stood still. You'll have 136 brake horsepower to play with on the SP1, and you should find the 90-degree V-twin engine to be fairly smooth in its power delivery. Our bike, Stuart, is a W-Reds from the year 2000. It's in standard trim, and although it's not very old, it has actually covered 29,500 miles. Yes, that's very high, but it appears to have been well cared for and is in very good condition. It's on sale for £5,900. And finally, Stuart, we're down to just 1 cylinder with the Vertemate 501. Although this Italian name may not be too familiar, we're quite confident that being a motocross rider, you'll feel perfectly at home on this 500cc supermoto. Whilst it doesn't reach the same kind of speeds as our other 2 machines, it's every bit as much fun. So many riders are now turning to the supermoto style in a bid to hang on to their licenses. The claim being that supermoto provides just as much excitement as a sports bike, but at much lower speeds. As I'm sure you're aware, Stuart, Vertemate supermotos are not the most common of bikes, so we've been struggling to find a used one. We have though found this example, which is this year's bike and has covered less than 500 miles. It's virtually brand new, and it could be yours for £5,500.
So there you go, Stuart. That was Paul with a few hints and tips about the bikes. So have you ever been on a triple before?
I haven't, no.
Right, well, we're going to set you off on the Triumph.
Super.
So if you go and get your helmet on, let us know what you think.
Great.
Marvellous. So while Stuart takes the Triumph for a test, we're over to Paul with this week's used bike review.
One of the most popular classes of bike these days are what have become known as the middleweights, or the all-rounders. Some people like to call them street bikes. Things like Suzuki's 600cc Bandit, which is without doubt the most popular in this class. But it's not your only choice, because becoming almost as popular these days is this. It is, of course, Yamaha's 600cc Fazer. I'll admit that my first impression of the Fazer was that it looked like a load of old Yamahas stuck together. There's certainly a bit of XJ600 in there, perhaps a bit of FJ1200 and one or two other bits that seem to have been borrowed from previous models. One thing is for sure though, if you took off all the badges and asked people to name the make, most of them would say it's most definitely a Yamaha. So 10 out of 10 to the design team. It's also a very easy bike to ride. Quite happy to be taken to the office and back 5 days a week, and it's equally at home giving the boy racers a run for their money along the twisty lanes. The high handlebars mean you will have to sustain that fairly upright riding position, but with that comes an excellent view of all that's around you, be that the traffic in the city or the miles of rolling countryside. Power delivery is very smooth and progressive from this gorgeous 600cc motor, although I have to say that after a couple of hours in the saddle there was a slightly annoying buzz coming through the foot pegs. A small price to pay, I suppose, for a motor that's as good as this. I'll tell you something else that's very good on a Fazer, and that's this bit, the pillion department, because very often on modern bikes these days, even on bikes with a dual seat, there's a big step in the seat, so your pillion is way up in the air and you've got lots of weight high up and they're in the wind blast and it's not very good. This one, it's not stepped too much, but better than that, it's still nice and thick and padded right at the back for your passenger. The pegs also aren't too high. Very often pillions get achy knees because you've got layers and layers of folded leather behind the knees. On here, I don't think you'd have that problem too badly, so you shouldn't have to do too many coffee stops. You can take the seat off as you can with most modern bikes these days, but very often you take a seat off a bike and there's no room to put anything. You might as well not be able to take it off. But on this one, you've got a nice compartment at the back there. You'd get some waterproofs in there, perhaps if they weren't too thick. You might even get a lock in it, but not very much else. This particular one is from 1999 and it's actually done 14-odd thousand miles, nearly 15,000 miles actually. But you would never know it. It is in very good condition. It's been very well looked after. In a showroom, this would be about 3,300, 3,400 thereabouts. Of course, if you buy them privately, you'd get one considerably less than that. But value for money, you've got to say, 600 cc's, decent looks, quite aggressive looks, I think, particularly in this black colour, and a reasonable amount of performance, not earth-shattering, but not bad. I think, damn good value for money.
Well, thank you, Paul. And while you were away, Stuart returned with the Triumph. So what did you think?
I was very impressed with it.
Yeah.
It was very comfortable. I felt like I could sit on it all day and carry on riding. It had plenty of low down torque. And yeah, it was a spirited ride, I think.
Good.
Is the adjective.
Good, but there's a but in there, isn't there?
There is a but, and it basically comes down to my age. I think I'm a bit young for it.
But you said you were getting on a bit.
Well, I think it'd be a great bike for my dad.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. I don't think will he be pleased with that?
He would. He'd love this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. I mean, you like the looks of it, though, don't you?
I do. Yeah. I think it looks very. It looks very modern. It's a bit newer than the SP1. It's only 12 months old. As I say, I like the single-sided swing arm. It's got a bit of Ducati edge to it, and the green sets it off perfectly, I think.
Marvellous. Well, you mentioned the SP. Let's go and have a little look at it, because this is your next little conquest.
Fantastic.
Now, twin, have you ever had any experience of twins?
No, not at all.
Really? Right. Okay. You're a bit of a virgin then in these two, aren't you? Fantastic. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, obviously you like the looks of this.
I do. I think it looks fantastic with the twin exhausts coming out the back.
Looks like it's raring to go.
It looks mean. You know, the handlebars are in the racing low position. I'm really looking forward to it.
All right, well, the keys are in it. Get yourself off.
Smashing.
Okay. So while Stuart has a play on the SP, we're over to Paul and PC Pulfrey and this week's biking legalities.
Well, thank you, Fran. Now this week we're going to talk about, well, we've got loads of emails about various things, but one in particular here, Chris, about from a guy who's bought a Goldwing second hand. It has a tow bar and he's thinking, I'll buy a trailer, stick it on and off I go. But what are the rules and regs as regards trailers and bikes?
Okay, there's loads of them.
I thought there would be loads of them, there usually is.
It's not easy.
No.
Try and keep it simple then. No more than 1 metre wide.
Right, the trailer, yeah.
No more than 2.5 metres long from the tow bar to the rear of the trailer itself.
Right. So that's from the back of the bike, if you like, to the back of the trailer?
Yeah.
So if you've got a big long bar on the front of the trailer, that comes into play, doesn't it?
Yeah, so you've got a little box.
Yeah, right, okay.
The bike has got to have the curbside weight on it,
Yep,
which you should have on the VIN plate.
yep,
The trailer's got to have the unladen weight marked on it.
right,
Okay. The trailer can't exceed more than 2/3 of the curbside weight of the drawing bike.
right. So let's say
And
the
no
bike
more
was...
than 150 kilograms.
Oh, right, so let's say the bike was 300 kilos, the trailer couldn't be 200 kilos, because
Yeah.
that'd be too heavy anyway.
Yes.
So even though that's still within 2/3, that would be too heavy. So 150 kilograms is the maximum
The cut-off point, yeah.
dry weight of a trailer.
Unless
There's a bit of an unless, go on.
the trailer is a broken down motorcycle.
Okay,
Okay, and that applies for carrying passengers as well. You can't carry a passenger in a trailer unless he's on a broken down motorcycle.
the
which
best thing
makes
is,
sense.
just don't have a trailer. What about the speed limits with trailers? Because I know if you're pulling a trailer with a car on a motorway, say it's 60 mile an hour maximum.
Yep,
Is
it's
that the
exactly the
same?
same. Yeah.
Same for a
Can't
bike?
go in the third lane of the motorway.
Can't go in the third lane of a motorway.
Same speed limits apply as to a car pulling a trailer.
Really? So it's quite complicated, isn't it, really?
Not as easy as you think on face value, no.
So I think probably the bottom line is if you're going to get a trailer for a bike, if you were to buy one from because there are companies that make them, aren't there?
There are, yeah.
Manufacturers that make purpose-built bike trailers. Chances are, it will fall within the regs, won't it?
It must conform to the regulations.
Right.
It's got to be tested and approved.
But if you're thinking of knocking one up in your shed with a couple of old pram wheels and what have you, and
Perhaps a bit more substantial than Prab wheel.
yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is if you're going to do it, it's got to be done right. You
Yes.
can't just stick any old trailer on back and tow it round.
But if anyone's thinking about doing it, just email us and I can send them a copy of the regs.
Right,
Then we'll
smashing.
look for foul of the boys in blue.
Great stuff. And don't go over 60 mile an hour.
Absolutely.
Smashing.
So that's it for part one. Join us in part two when Stuart will be back to tell us what he thinks of the SP1, and we'll be sending him out on this mad looking thing, the Vertemate. And Paul will be back with some riding advice. See you after the break. Welcome back to Used Bike Heaven. Now, if you were with us before the break, you'll know we're with Stuart, who doesn't know what he wants. So we've got three little beauties for him. We had started him out on the Triumph Sprint ST. He liked that, but thought it might be better suited to his dad. Then we sent him out on the Honda SP1. And what do you think of this? This is not for your dad, is it?
No, I wouldn't let him loose on it. It is amazing.
It's fast, isn't it?
My heart is still going 10 to the dozen at the moment. It is super fast.
Yeah.
To be honest, it scared me a little bit.
That's the power delivery then that's going to...
It is the power delivery and the fact that you're doing silly speeds before you know it under
Really?
the acceleration.
What was your perception of V-twins?
I've heard that they're very lumpy
Yeah.
to ride, but I was quite surprised at how smooth it was. It was quite twitchy in first gear, going around roundabouts. And I didn't really feel very safe.
I was going to say, did you feel in control?
I did feel him in control most of the time, but with a first go on such a powerful bike in these road conditions, it did, as I say, it did scare me slightly.
Because I mean, the comfort-wise, I mean, we'll talk about comfort in a minute, but the riding position is so different, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
you're sitting on top of the bike
Yeah.
on the SP1 rather than the Triumph, where you're sitting certainly, in it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more aggressive riding style. Your knees are bent, your feet are high, your hands are down.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like Colin Edwards.
You sound like you look like him.
Looks, well, it's the best out of all of them in terms of looks. I think it looks stunning. It's got a fantastic reputation.
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
love to be seen on it riding
Yep.
along.
Well, be a flash, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Brilliant. Right, let's get you over onto your kind of thing, I think, really, this, isn't it?
Yes, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. Now, have you ever heard of a Vertemate?
I've heard of them, but I've never actually seen them. They are quite exclusive, so I'm quite privileged to have a ride on one.
Right. So you like the looks of it then, obviously. You like this style of bike, don't you?
I do, yeah. They're quite new to the biking world, the supermoto. I do. I think it looks really cool.
Good. Go and have a play on it then.
Fantastic.
All
I've
right.
been waiting for that. Thank you.
So while Stuart's on his third and final test, we're over to Paul and some riding advice.
Well, thank you very much, Fran. Now, you might have heard the saying, where you look is where you go. What does that mean? Well, it means that if you focus on something, that's probably where you're going to end up. And I could tell you a very quick story. About some years ago, I was in the Isle of Man following somebody round a bend. He was on a scooter, actually. It was very funny. And he thought he was going a bit quick, and there was a bush in front of him. And he thought, I'm not going to make it round this bend. I'm going to hit the bush. I'm going to hit the bush, that bush there. And he kept seeing this bush. What did he do? He rode straight through the bush. It was very, very funny, actually. I was behind him. Nobody was hurt. He was only going quite slowly when he hit it. But the fact is, had he thought, I'm going a bit quick round this bend, I'm going to hit that bush, where else can I go? Can I go in a gap there? Is there a gap there? Can I avoid it? And focused on a gap, he would probably have gone there. If he'd have found an escape route and focused on it, that's where he would have ended up. But he didn't. Focused on this bush, bang, straight through the middle of it. Highly amusing for everybody behind him, I must say. And if you watch a racer, if you look at a picture of a motorcycle racer in a magazine, you watch a good still shot of a racer, say he's going around at a right-hand bend, he'll be over like this, he'll be cranked over, the bend is there, look where his head is, look where his eyes are, he's looking that way, he's looking across the bend through it, he's looking at the exit, he looks at where he wants to be, and as soon as he's through it, he sees the next bend, and as soon as he's into the next one, again, he's looking through it and looking where he wants to be. So here we have a left-hand bend, right? So we get to this point. So by the time we get here and we're going into the bend, we've already lost our speed, we've adjusted our speed, we're at the right speed, we're in the right gear, and we've also completed all our braking. We don't want to be braking in the bend. When we get to this point, all we want to be worrying about is where we're going. So where are we going? Well, we'll go where we look. So where should we look? Straight ahead, there's a wall and a road sign. If that's where you look, that's where you will end up. Believe me, don't try it, but it does work, I can tell you from experience. So we look around the bend, we look up here, across this way, we look to our exit, we look to where we want to be. As we look up there, obviously we can see if there's any other bends approaching, if there's any oncoming traffic or any other hazards that we're going to need to make allowances for. So we get to this point, we look through the bend, and if that's where we look, then that is where we'll go.
So, what did you think to that?
Wow, that was fantastic.
Was it?
Loads of fun.
Yep.
It's a single cylinder, which I'm used to with my 125, but this is a 500cc, so it's obviously got a lot more clout.
Yep.
Loads of torque. As soon as you touch the accelerator, the throttle, you're off.
Yeah.
And the front end is literally up.
Yeah.
Every gear you can pretty much pick the front end up if you want to. I found it quite comfortable, actually. I mean, I'm used to that sort of riding style anyway, with not having your body weight onto your wrists, leaning forward like you do with the SP1.
Oh, is it similar? Have you been on a supermoto before?
Never on a supermoto, no. But
right.
In terms of the difference between that and a motocross bike, there are very little differences in the actual riding position, the height of the bike, the suspension. It's all pretty much exactly the same as my motocross bike, apart from it's got nice road racing tyres on it.
So the brakes were pretty good then?
Brakes were awesome, yeah, considering it's just got a single disc on the front. It makes you feel like the brakes are working stronger than they are because of the suspension compressing so much.
Right.
So you really do sort of go right down onto the front wheel when you're braking, and I think given the conditions, or in better conditions, you could probably get the back wheel way into the air if you were that way inclined.
I'm surprised we've got sirens coming after you on this one. Fantastic. Don't give too much away, because have you made your mind up?
I have made my mind up.
Oh, right. Fantastic. I can't wait to know. But before you tell me, we're going to go to Paul, who's going to give us a recap. Okay?
Smashing.
Brilliant.
OK, Stuart, it's make your mind up time. You were reasonably impressed with the Sprint ST at £6,400, although you said it would be a good bike for your dad. A little harsh, but we take your point. What about the SP1 then at £5,900? A great looking sports bike which you said was frighteningly fast, almost to the point of being scary. Might not be such a good proposition after all. So maybe you'll go for the Vertemati at £5,500. You certainly look completely at home on this supermoto, perhaps because the riding style is so similar to your own motocross machine. And as you said, they're a rare sight and you'd certainly stand out from the crowd. Well, Stuart, the decision is yours.
There you go, Stuart. That was Paul with a recap. Put me out of my misery. Which one's it going to be?
It's going to have to be the Vertemati.
I knew you'd say that.
I absolutely love it. It's got the fun factor on it is huge. You can pull wheelies on it, stoppies on it. You can take it round the twisties. I love it. I want to take it home with me.
Right. Well, we can't let you take it home with you unless you want to pay for it, obviously. But we know you like making an entrance, so you could make an exit.
Super.
Yeah. So go and get your helmet on.
Thank
take
you
it for
very
another
much.
spin. So Stuart didn't want the Triumph because he felt it was more suitable for his dad. He didn't want the SP1 because it scared the life out of him. But he loved the Vertemati because it was great fun. So we'll see you next week for some more used bike heaven. And Stuart's going to get off on the Vertemati.
On Used Bike Heaven next week, we meet Gordon Norbury, who's looking for a super sports bike for less than £4,500. We'll have another featured used bike, some more legal advice, and another riding tip.